What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today. It is the 4th day of December, and here we are sitting at about $92,000 with roughly 9 hours left in the day. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. Here we are. A little bit choppy, right? A little bit choppy since the low. We haven't really gone too far. We are still in this range. I do suspect that we are working our way up toward 99 to 101K. This is the area that I think we're working our way up towards, but that's the phrase that I'd like to use, is working our way up there. We're working for it. We're not just going to shoot right up there or blast through it. It's not going to be a one fell swoop kind of thing. I would assume we're going to get these higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, some choppy price action on the way up there. It's quite possible that from here at $92,000 that we could see Bitcoin go all the way back below 87K, even below this low, and still work our way up there, right? We're in this very kind of emotional, heightened state of the crypto markets right now. And whenever emotions are high, choppy price action is the best because, well, people make the wrong decisions basically intentionally at that point. Let's look at the short-term stuff, and then we'll zoom out from there. We'll see, are we continuing this rally? Are we continuing to move up, or do we expect a pullback here, something that would be a higher low or maybe even a lower low? Let's just see what we're coming up with. Hit that like button, subscribe, let's get into it. Okay, here we are, 1 hour time frame. Looking at this, first and foremost, yes, we had a BART down, we had a BART back up. There was a lot of volume down here. You guys see all that volume that was down here, and then on the way up too. Like, really, there was a lot of volume between here and here. So I'm thinking that there was a lot of buying pressure, right? Something caused this like quick collapse. Maybe it was the lack of volume throughout this whole time, so it was easy to push the price down. And then there was a lot of acquisition that happened there. I mean, you can say it was acquisition. You could say it was dispersion. What's the word I'm looking for? Where you disperse, where you offload. I can't think of the word. Accumulation, distribution. You could say there's distribution going on there, but if you just think about it plainly, there was a lot of volume at the lows. What does that make you think, right? There's a lot of volume at the lows, right? There's probably some buying pressure going on. Anyways, 1 hour time frame here. Bouncing off the oversold zone. You look like you're in a bit of a downtrend in the 1 hour RSI. If I had to guess, I would think that we do proceed lower, but probably not too much lower, right? From here, we might even bounce. By the time you watch this video, we're at 92.2K. Maybe we're up a little bit, and then we come back down probably later today, going into the end of the day, if not even starting off Friday on a red note, and then perhaps Friday we meander or start to come up. That would be my thoughts. Friday might be a good day, might shape up to be a good day. Or perhaps we come down to this oversold zone, we stay down here, we do a little range over the weekend, and then maybe we start to build a upward sloping trend going into the new week. Sometimes these downward sloping trends turn into sideways trends, and then they turn into upward sloping trends. And that whole process, I mean, to get back to the overbought zone, it'd be Monday over here if this whole process were to come to fruition. It doesn't have to be exactly like that, but sometimes and oftentimes enough, that's actually what happens. Let's just see. I mean, here's a perfect example of it. It's not, I shouldn't say a perfect example, but a good example. You have lower lows, lower highs. You turned it into a sideways trend. And your sideways trend turned into an uptrend. Quite literally, just like I had drawn a second ago. Like literally the exact same thing. A little bit smaller, but still. Anyways, focusing on this range, the current range with the data we do have, it makes sense we'd come up, probably reject the 50 line right here, right there at this lower high, and then come down to the oversold zone. We're probably going to start off the morning here for the business day. You know, the stock market's just opened up 30 minutes ago. We're going to start off the day on a good note and probably close it on a negative note for Bitcoin. That's the assumption I'm making. So with that being said, again, could we move back up above 93K from here? Sure, maybe we do. But I wouldn't think we get too much above 93K. I would assume that from that point, we probably do pull back. And the point at which we pull back to would be about just below $90,000. $89,000 is what I would think. Probably between about $89.4 to $90,000 itself, somewhere in there. At the lowest, maybe 87.6 to 86.8K, but probably very likely right here at this price. 89.9K, somewhere right around there. Looking at the 4 hour time frame, or do we even use our other indicators? Stochastics are reset, seems like they want to come up. MACD, well, the MACD's at the 0. This is actually a good area to bounce. I hope I'm wrong. We'll know that I'm wrong if we're getting 1 hour time frames to close above 94K. If we can get above 94K and there's some volume coming in, it doesn't have to be huge like this back here. But if we're building in price, we need to be building in volume. So as long as we're building in volume as we're building in price, I have no problem with that. If we're building in volume and we're closing above 94K on any time frame, I would say that my theory that we go lower is invalidated, and we are in fact moving higher, probably up to like 96, 97K, something like that. 4 hour time frame here, the RSI continues to struggle getting overbought. It's not typically a good thing, okay? We were doing the same type of behavior back here, right? And we're kind of moving sideways now, doing the same thing again. I think choppy price action is really to be expected. We're probably, I wouldn't even be surprised if the drop happened very similar to this, right? We get like a quick drop and then maybe a slow recovery up, or a fast recovery and then a slow progression from there. It kind of makes sense to me. Kind of makes a lot of sense. I mean, with that, if we do see a quick crash, maybe we do the exact same thing. From a low to a high, we drop down to our golden ratio right there. Maybe we drop down to this golden ratio here, and we should intend 87.6 to 87K rather than 90K. Time will tell. Time will tell. Looking at the 4 hour indicators, the RSI doesn't get me excited, that's for sure. We do have lower highs with higher highs. That is bearish divergence. That's why this move's playing out. At the moment, we do have lower lows in the RSI and lower lows in the price. Stochastics, while looking nice here, could come down and reset a little bit, and so could the MACD. It's actually very common when the MACD crosses above the zero, when you get the blue and the orange to cross above the zero, that you consolidate for about a day and a half or 3 days or more, and then you start to rally. So, I mean, with this, you know, starting to consolidate here on Tuesday, it really could be tomorrow, Friday, that we start to move up. If not then, if not Friday, then sometime next week. It might be next week that we finally push past these $94,000 levels here. Looking at the daily time frame, MACD looks decent, building positive momentum. Stochastics are bullish, and the RSI is bearish overall. It is bearish, let's be fair. But there are some productive things going on here, and you are breaking structure, right? You've gone from a lower high, lower low kind of trend to now you're getting higher highs and higher lows, but you're probably going to come down and form that higher low probably at the 40, if I had to guess, and then move up from there. That's my thoughts. So a little bit of volatility in the short term. Anticipate some downward price action, downward sloping price action, probably below 90K, just below 90K. If not, all the way down to 87K is very possible. And then we'll continue on our merry way up to about $101,000. Probably continue that path the next week. I would assume today and going into tomorrow we make this pullback. By the end of tomorrow, Friday, maybe we come back a little bit, and then the weekend we're probably boring and stagnant, starting off the next week to the upside. That'd be the expectation. I don't really have anything else that I want to say. If you guys like the video, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I mean, it makes a lot of sense that we'd go right here to about $101,000 because that is our low closing prices. It's also right here at our 0.5 fib retracement, which Bitcoin has had an extremely flirtatious relationship with this 0.5 Fibonacci retracement. So it makes a lot of sense that's our next target. I mean, we're doing things kind of odd here, but we are being productive nonetheless. I want to look at BTC.D real quick. Let's just look at that. Oh, man, Bitcoin dominance used to be so much more helpful. Whenever it goes down, whenever it goes up, you assume the market goes down. Whenever it goes down, you assume the market's going up. But now we've seen Bitcoin dominance go down while the rest of the market's going down too. It's just Bitcoin's dropping faster. We don't know which way is up with this thing. Ben Cohen thinks that the dominance is going to return to higher prices. I want to see. I don't think it will. Ben Cohen's reign of terror on the Bitcoin dominance, I think, is going to come to an end. I think he'll be proven wrong here, guys. I love Ben Cohen. I think he's great. I hope I'm right. I hope he's wrong. I'm sure he hopes he's wrong too, because if Bitcoin dominance drops, that's good for altcoins typically. But here you are rejecting the 50. You had bearish divergence here. You've barely interacted with the oversold zone at all. It seems as though you've got this trend, lower highs, lower lows, down here. You haven't really interacted with the oversold zone much. I think we get a little bit lower, as we typically do. In times like this. Stochastics rejecting the 50. MACD is bearish. You just had the cross. I mean, everything about this is actually bearish. This even looks like a bear flag right here. You know what I mean? Like I would very much think that dominance is set to drop. I think Ben Cohen's trolling us, you guys. He's like, you know what? I've been right all year. I literally haven't been wrong once. Speaking in the perspective of Ben Cohen, because I don't think he's been wrong once this year of 2025. He makes a lot of long-term macro calls, but I don't think he's been wrong once. I think this he will be wrong on. I don't believe Bitcoin dominance will surpass these levels or even return there. Your daily RSI, your daily momentum, everything, you're shifted right here. You're overbought. You look like you want to come down. Everything is shifting to the downside. So I do expect altcoins then, looking at this on a daily time frame, next week should probably do well. Next week and even going into the end of this month should probably do well. Things should start to shape up here. Imagine the dominance drops below here, you guys. At that point, altcoins are going to be having a fantastic time. We're going to see some life come back into the altcoin markets, and I think that's what we're shaped up to do right here. Anyways, little food for thought there, but the Bitcoin dominance, talking about the Bitcoin chart. The main thought was the Bitcoin price action, but I've got nothing else. Hit the like button, subscribe. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we push past 94K. That's what it would take. Take care. Bye-bye.